All right, guys, you can see I'm under the buggy again. Getting ready to take the rear end out of it. You can see I've got the axles out. Both axles are here. The gear splines look fine that go into the diff, but if you can see the one gear, I've already cleaned it up. That one's the one I've cleaned up. This one here, you can see the edge, like the last 1/4 inch out here on the end, is rounded and rounded off. I think I'm gonna need a new axle on that one. But anyway, we're just tearing this out, getting back to it. Guys, on taking that rear end out, I didn't get any video up because it's so hard to do it by yourself. But just use a jack and go up there and pull the tension off of it. And I just undone the shackles on the springs. The shocks first, unscrewed the shock screws, and then just undone the 4 shackles and just got my jack in the center of the diff and just eased it up and tried to do it with one hand and hold the axle with the other and got all the bolts out, and so they're piled up here. So and then just come out and eased it down. Yeah, as you can see, got my bolts here I'm taking out. Already got the long axle tube off. And you can see if I can do this, anybody can do this. I am literally doing this the most archaic way you could do it, I believe. Where I'm at, just here's the right axle tube, and yeah, I'm just taking it apart here, just bolt at a time. I mean, much easier if I had a nice shop and all that stuff, but I don't. So what I will do is, old saying is, when you're in Rome, do as the Romans. So last bolt. So there it is. There's the short axle tube. So as you can see, I've got the axle tubes off. They come off really easy. There's no seals or anything in the actual tubes. The seals are actually in the diff itself here. As you can see, this is where the axle tube goes, and so the seals are in here. Really good shape and stuff, so I don't think I'll have to replace any of those. So these are 13 millimeter, so I will just begin to take these. Get some light on the subject here. But these are just 13 millimeter, and I've made the back of my buggy is my makeshift workbench. And you can see the tarp I've got in here is because it's just nasty raining, and I've got the tarp up to keep the rain from blowing in. But all right, I got it open. It's a helpful tip. When you take this off, it has a flat spot built on, one side of this, the non-motor side. This is where the motor bolts up to right here. The opposite side is flat, where it can lay down like that. Take it loose like that. That way this cap comes off, and there's no gears, no bearings, no bushings, no nothing in here that you will be afraid of losing. So that is just absolutely just the case cover. So everything else is in here. So you go to take this apart, make sure that the motor side is facing up, and this comes off as like just the cap. In order to get this gear out, the big gear out, where you can unbolt the drive gear, we had to take the motor gear out. It just pops out. You see down there, but it just pops out, and you have to work it out. Pull the bearing up and pull the bearing out between these slots right here. And of course, I got it wrapped up right here. And then we'll have to pop this one out. Then we can get to this. Keep in mind, guys, this middle gear right here, when you're pulling it out, it's going to have suction all around this bearing here. It's that tight. I mean, the seal is that good. It's got suction, and when you pull it up, it's going to feel like it's a spring pulling on something. So I pulled up like a 3/8 of an inch, and it got harder to pull, and then it would pull itself back down in there. It felt like there was a spring attached to it. So I checked everything over as good as I could with the flashlight, and I couldn't see a spring or anything. So, but that's what it felt like. So just be in mind, all that is it's suction out of that. So you just keep pulling and kind of just try to vibrate it, you know, side to side with your fingers, or as you're pulling on each side of it, and it literally popped out. But just be mindful of that when you're pulling that out. There is nothing attached to it, but it feels like it. As you can see, I've pulled the ring gear pinion out of it, so to speak. But everything looks good. There's no chunks of metal in it. It is a little gray, but that's to be expected from the damage that we incurred and stuff. So, but now what we do, you can see here we got the gear out, and the spider gears and everything, everything looks perfect. So now we just got to take the main gear here. We'll just unbolt that, and then that'll free up our spider gear, and then that way we can work with the spider gear and take the assembly rod out and get the limited slip system in. Before we grind it down, it won't work. Now old Brandon's putting the grinder to it. Still a little firm there in the middle. A little bit. We'll get them ground down to where they'll go in between these gears and get it in there. See what we're doing out here. We're welding up the rear diff, the spider gears on the buggy. I was going to put a limited slip in it, and I got a universal limited slip from Buggy's Unlimited. Tried to do a little machining on it. It wouldn't go in there. It's too big. And anyway, after looking at it, I was going to have to take the gears out and have the gears machined down about a good 1/16 of an inch on each side, and I just decided against that. It would still be limited slip, and so I'm going to just weld it up solid here. So we're going to have a solid rear diff in that buggy, and I thought about later on taking that clutch pack and retrofitting it to the front end, so it'll be a limited slip in the front of that buggy. But we're getting it done. I want you to check this mod that I did out. If you'll look right there, you'll see the middle spring, the middle leaf spring. And I took it out. These things ride like a wooden wheel wagon. Anyway, it's got one with a solid axle nose. So what I did, while it's already down, all this is just a 13mm bolt or nut. And you just take it loose, and it's got the pin on the bottom side that lines up inside the axle tube holder there, where it goes on the where the leaf spring goes down on the axle tube. But I just removed that one spring. It came all the way out to, if you got them, you know what I'm talking about. It comes like out to here and all the way back to here. So it just makes this thing stiff as a board. I mean, we've had 400 pounds on the back trying to bounce, and all it'll do is make the tires go down. There was zero give to this suspension. So this should make it ride better, as well as get more traction off-road. All right, as you can see, guys, before you start to reassemble the diff, make sure you clean it really good. You can see this thing is spotless. I took some light sandpaper and sanded down all the edges, so the RTV will have a good place to adhere to. Let's see what another tip here. I don't think I covered it, but you can see here, yes, I am in my house and I'm doing this on my hearth. But you want to take a torch. It's about 50 degrees outside. Now this has been inside, so it's room temperature, but I took it outside and cleaned it with brake cleaner and stuff, so that cooled it down. Just preheat this. And that's what you want to do. You want to, of course, watch out for the seals. Don't overheat them, but Guys, once you have it this cold and your main case warmed up, things become a lot easier at that point. So again, we're just absolutely making sure everything's clean. There we go.
Got a couple turkeys out there. Too bad it's not Thanksgiving.
You're on the dowels. Tinker with it till we get it.
Very awesome there.
I want to say something too, because most people, you wouldn't need to cut this off.
It don't take a lot of this, obviously, you guys know, but
above and beyond,
little electric socket. There you go. So it's just a snug up, and I don't know what the sequential order is to time.
Yeah. How many drones have you crashed and destroyed? There's no way of knowing.
Oh no, so many.
I crashed probably over $12,000 worth of drones, consumer level drones, before Grind Hard.
That's terrible because they used to be like 400.
I crashed one over Silverwood once.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And just slightly tap. I'm not doing nothing enough to hurt anything. Just seating that axle really, really good.
For a while, there weren't that many rides.
So,
like this collection, or like this,
I think getting them on will be.
merry-go-round.
Eccentric rich people.
We did. You did weird around here. Like, I never saw it.
It's already showing
I know,
signs.
it's already showing the little dirt on the cuffs. I fold this morning,
Okay.
and I was like my back was like a little messed up, and like the seats aren't very. Like, what's the oldest? Because like.
There's the part number if you can see that.
So I have like a special. Okay.
And you can go on Google, and that's 200 and I think some of them I've found $279 a piece. But at Country Cat they're 147 a piece, so $100 off the cheapest place I could find on the interweb. So that was awesome, and it got here in 2 days. So this is it. You can see on these splines, all that stuff. So we will just go ahead and assemble that down. And again, I do have that washer already in place. So there, and I'm doing this. It's much thicker than the factory one. And so I'm going to install this lock washer on there like so. And of course, this is what I showed you last time. But the lock washer goes on there. And then we'll put the castle nut. And here we go, 150 foot-pounds. So we will factory spacer, but
and it goes and it accelerates so fast. So I'm like,
And then I sold it to a guy actually down the road. I don't know if he sold it. So.
all right.